him too. But it took a lot of prayer, and he had to go out and meet with the official out there. And we were just starting out in married life, and we didn't have two nickels to knock together.
Been there.
And he came home, and I was to a meeting, and he called me at the meeting, and he said, "I bought a house." I said, "What on earth with?" And he said, "The convention of the Western Convention made it down, paid the first mortgage, and a man in Winnipeg signed for the second one." So we went out, and we got out there, and the keys were to be left at the neighbors, and we went to get the keys, and there was no keys there. And we found the pastor for the church we would be attending, and they said the man that signed the second mortgage was sick in the hospital. So they put our furniture in. It got there before we did, but we weren't allowed in. So thank goodness we were traveling with a camper. And so we went out to the park and stayed out there. And we were there over a week. And then he was well enough to sign, but it was kind of hard to feel they were getting a man to sign that was so sick.
Yeah.
And I can't remember whether he got better or not. I think he must have, or, it would have hurt me more.
Yeah.
But, and we moved into the house, so we were glad to get in.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we left, we had a few pennies from selling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we paid off the mortgages as quickly as we could.
Yeah.
And then we come back,
Yeah.
called back to be area minister, to start area minister here.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, in some of the church situations I've been at, the area ministers have been so vital to the health of the churches that I've been part of. When we've gotten into trouble, they were right there for us. They were so helpful. That's neat. So
Yes, we enjoyed coming back and working here again. However, the idea of an area minister was not accepted at first.
Yeah.
We went to one home, Eugene didn't tell me, to one minister's house. He said, "We're going to go and visit them." Well, I knew them really well, and when he was at Acadia, I was there for the last year, and I went to the women's program, the married women's program, and the wife was involved in that.
Yeah.
So, I went, and he was in his office, and so she went and told him, and it took a little while for him to come, and he came out with his black robe on, and went over to Eugene and said, "Can I kiss your
ring?"
Now, for me, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And he laughed, and we stayed and visited with them, and we left. And he didn't say anything until we got home, and he said that was kind of a hard visit. And he told me that that person was objecting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's hard.
Boy, you're going to have a lot of cutting.
Oh yeah, that's all right.
We got
No,
lots of
please
time.
cut that out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes,
No, for
yeah,
sure.
definitely.
No, that's
Yeah.
no. We just thought it would be neat to talk to yourself and to Grace and Vida, and just find out what you learned from your mom, and what you learned as being a mom, and what you can pass on to the young mums at Hillcrest now. Like, we're just, as you guys have been through all these different scenarios as mums, and you can kind of help out the younger mums of our church with some wise advice as to what it means to be a mom, and for faith to be a big part of being a mom.
And plus, it's neat to hear some of these stories too, right? Because
Oh, it's fun.
I mean, Eugene's part of my heritage too, and so your ministry together as husband and wife. I mean, I told you before, Eugene performed the wedding for my parents,
Yes.
and but I never knew that area ministers were objected to at first. And now I'm thinking about it, thinking like, oh, I can see how people would think, oh, the convention's trying to take power or something along those lines, but the men who have been the area ministers, from my experience, have been incredible. Just to be able to go in and give the counsel and the wisdom and the prayer support that churches need.
And when we moved here to Grand Bay, the wives came with the men when they had their meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and because they still had that little old building up here that they planned to turn into the real office.
Oh yeah, right.
And Keith's son lived in the basement just to have somebody in the building. And so we arrived there with sheets and pillowcases,
Yeah.
and we went into town and got food and ate out there some, and ate inside, the restaurants. But I mean, they didn't charge it to the convention. They just came up because they like to come with their husbands.
Yeah.
And so I was the one with the car, and so I drove them around.
Ha.
And I missed them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Eugene retired, I really missed them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You make those connections with people. And
In Western Canada, we had, I'm not sure what it was called, but we had a real revival out there.
yes.
Yes, and my pastor kind of felt that some of us were a bit overzealous. But he was the most wonderful pastor you could find anywhere.
Yeah.
We were in a new church,
Yes.
only had the one room, and we'd go, and the chairs would be around in a circle,
Yes.
and he'd say, "Now today, we're going to say, think about the farmer in the dell,
Mm.
but related to the church." And he said, the Lord is in the church. The Lord is in the church. Walked around the chairs, the Lord's in the church. And then he said, and the Lord has a pastor. And the pastor and the deacons and the Sunday school children, and we had a full church when we all sat down.
Beautiful.
And another Christmas, he said, I have some little presents for you. And he went around and passed out those, you know, the pay envelope you got?
Yeah.
Pay envelope. And we didn't know what to do with them. So we sat there, and he said, if I got a gift, I'd open it. So we opened it, and then it was 5 pennies. And he said, I'd share them. If I was given something that I could share, I'd share them. So we ended up, everybody had a penny. But you know, he got the attention of the people so that he could speak, and he was a good pastor.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said there was some revival. What do you think helped to lead revival into happening at your church? Or was it more than just your church? Was it an area kind of revival, or?
I'm 85,
Yes.
and I was, what, 25?
Yeah.
No, I was 35.
Yeah.
You know, it's so long ago, I've forgotten how it began.
No, that's all
But
right.
it was such a revival
Yeah.
that the Federation was here in Wolfville
Yes.
that year, and there was a full busload came to the Federation, and not only that, but the cars upon cars upon cars came from Winnipeg down to the Federation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah. Yeah. We're hoping for. We share a little bit of grace. We have a prayer weekend coming up, and our special speaker is Gerard Dutoy, and he's experienced revival as well, and he expressed it in an interesting way. But one of the things we're hoping is that he'll teach on prayer for revival, you know, because we need revival in St. John, you know. I'm hoping that through prayer we'll see some neat things, God do some things again here.
Yes, I think the people need to, you know, there's lots of Christian people here in St. John, but I think that some kids have so much put in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the youth group, the convention one,
Yes.
every year is very effective.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wish I could remember how that went,
Oh, that's all right.
but it was spontaneous. I can't remember,
No, that's all right.
and I can remember sitting in the balcony.
Yeah.
Did a lot of people get saved too? Like,
Oh yes, yeah.
yeah. Now, how would they? Don't mind me asking these questions, but you know, would there be altar calls and they come forward, or would they just get saved kind of in the streets, or just through conversations with people, or what was some of the?
People started going forward and no one invited them. If I remember correctly.
That's awesome.
I think so.
Yeah. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. We've been talking at the deacons level about altar calls in the church, and I think I have to get some teaching here sometime soon. But at the same time, when God moves, people will do, you know, those come forward and have their lives changed. That's, yeah. I look forward to seeing God. I've seen God bring renewal. I've seen God move powerfully in churches, you know, for the Christians. But I haven't seen God work I mean, I've seen him work in individuals' lives here and there, but with a large group of people, I haven't seen God change groups of people at once to salvation. But I've seen him do it. I've seen him just weave all these things together for one individual, and the person gets saved. But I'm looking forward to seeing God's hand move on a citywide scale or a province-wide scale.
Yeah, I can't. Oh, I wish I could remember.
Well, at least you can remember that it happened, right?
Exactly.
We had a church service for people all over the world in Winnipeg.
Hmm.
And Eugene went to it, and Dr. Barber was involved with it. You've probably seen him
Yes.
on television. And this lady came up to him. She said, "You speak Dutch?" Eugene said, "No." She listed several different nationalities. "What do you speak?"
That's funny.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, the Baptists were a minority out there.
Yes.
There was Baptists, but they were Southern Baptists, and they were, what was the other one? Southern Baptists, German Baptists,
Really?
Ukrainian Baptist.
Oh wow.
Oh, well, we were involved with the Ukrainians.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Thompson was my husband's.
That's funny.
Thompson.
Oh, I'm keeping you people.
Oh no, this is great. This is what we're.
This is fun.
It's as much to visit as it is to ask questions, right?
You asked about my mom's faith.
Yes.
My mom I just accepted her faith.
Yeah.
My dad had the church service, but I, just accepted Mom's faith because my dad, when he first came home, had a very bad heart attack. And at that time, the snowmobile was the most awful looking thing. It was like a camper, great big, and a great big fan on the back of it, like a airplane.
Yeah.
And that's how the doctor came to look after them. They were with them every day for about 7 days.
Yes.
And Mom never slept. She just laid on the edge of his bed. The doctors always said that she was the one that
Wow.
brought him through it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so she lived her faith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And the impact that would have had on you
That's
too.
cool.
Yeah.
To see that.
Yes, for me, I was 6 years old, and I had just been in school, kindergarten.
Yeah.
I don't know how many days, maybe a month. And I remember saying to my brother, I want to go to school. And he said, "Well, you don't want to go to school today because Dad